Hello and welcome to another Talking to episode. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by
Hayden.
And today we're gonna talk about the TMNT 2003 Season 2 Episode 4, the Tales in Space Part 4, the Arena I think it's called. So yeah, what do you think about this episode briefly?
Well, briefly, this episode was very different from previous ones, and of course, we go straight into the action. But briefly, I think this is a very much action-packed episode. Very different. A lot of battle and a lot of excuse me, not Hunger Games. Sorry. Well, it's a bit like Hunger Games, but more Roman-style gladiator fighting. And I'll explain more as we get into that episode. But that's briefly how I can describe this episode.
You have to say that this episode was quite action-packed to the point where I don't really feel like I needed to make much notes. It was just more like, oh, that thing happened and that thing happened. And there was quite a few things in this episode which I did enjoy. But yeah, this episode was really action-focused. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about the first bit. The Tales versus the Alien, because of that name we will not speak of. So yeah, what do you think about that little bit there?
Ah, yes. We will not speak that name. Well, yeah, no, we jumped straight into the action after last week's episode. We went straight into the gladiator fights, in which the turtles were fighting against the alien, as we call it. We're fighting against the alien, and they are having a kind of a rough time trying to defeat the alien. And of course, we get to see the excuse me, I'm losing my words today. We get to see the whole arena and the gladiators, and it's very much a Colosseum type vibe with like all the spectators and the observers. Very much a Roman type feel going on here, but it's like if Romans were in space, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, a very unique kind of place to be that only can be described as it's turtles.
Yeah, pretty much so.
But what do you think about like the actual battle itself between the turtles and the alien?
To be honest, don't have much to say. It was pretty cool, don't get me wrong, it was pretty cool, but it could have been slightly better. But I think they were reserving themselves for what was to come later on in the episode, so I understand why they did it. But to be honest, I thought it was pretty cool, and I was surprised that the turtles were able to adapt so quickly to their situations as well, in which they were managed to find the creature's weak spots and to quickly come up with a plan and defeat it using deception tactics, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, no, really surprised that they managed to trick the creature and defeat it pretty quickly on in the episode.
Yeah, I have to say that this fight scene here, it was just okay. I want to say there wasn't anything really too special about it, and what I have to say for like the majority of the fights in this episode were just okay. They were they're okay, but like, nothing really too special to really talk about. But they were like nice ones to watch. And I do think like just like something we should say about like Toes, how to find the thing like very quickly. I mean, I do enjoy that just like showing that Toes are like actually good at their jobs and able to find the the weak spot and able to take it down. Maybe they might have taken it down a little bit too quick, but I think that's just more down to the timing for this episode. So I can't complain all too much there. And I wanted to say that with the alien design, I was like, I thought it was okay, nothing really too special, but there was like one or two shots which did make the alien look like quite cool with all the different layers of shading, which like normally with like TV shows, they normally do like 2 layers of shading, but like for some reason here I was able to see I think like 3 or 4 layers, which I was quite surprised at because I wasn't expecting it to be that way, but it was really nice to see that. But yeah, and then also like them dropping the statue on his head. I'm pretty sure the alien died, so yeah, I guess that's kind of cool, but yikes. But yeah, overall there wasn't really too much to this bit here. But yeah, that's when we do go into the next scene where we do get see Tails. They drop down into the training area. Now, I would like to like point something out which I do like quite a bit, and this is something which they do explore in like future episodes with Tails, and how like they're so like cocky, overconfident with their situation, and just like, yeah, okay, you trust Triceratops, you know, you got electric whip, who cares? I really like that attitude in this episode. Like, what do you think about the attitude with Tails, or was it something which you didn't really pick up on?
To be honest, I was very surprised that they could make a laugh and crack a joke in a serious situation such as this. Like, they've just been thrown down a pit. They're probably going to get beaten up by the other gladiators, and they are sure as hell looking like they ain't getting out of there alive. But they've somehow managed to crack a joke and cause a little banter. It's just the turtles, to be honest. Like, they're always cracking jokes at one another, even in the darkest of scenarios, and especially thousands of light years away from their master and their home planet. They're still cracking jokes and smiling through it all, which I think is a great mentality to have, especially in like a very serious situation. Like, you always got to keep your head up high, always look on the bright side of life. That sort of mentality, which is pretty good to see.
You have to see, like, with their personality, was something which I do quite enjoy, especially like when you do look at like other episodes where like they're all like so serious, so just like trying to do the right thing and everything like that. But yeah, like here, just like, I mean, we're in prison, but at the same time, up yours and all that. So it was like a really like fun atmosphere with the turtles and something which there's something about like the contrast between like Steve Turtles here, just they just don't care because they know they can get out of it, even though they probably don't know that. But yeah, on Earth, we're like, well, there's something about, it's just so like, amusing and just something which I would definitely would like to see a lot more with their personalities. It's just like show this like fun, cocky, overconfident kind of side to it, and a little bit more because I do think it does bring out like a lot of like fun side of Turtles and just bring out a little bit more like the because like especially like Donatello, especially like some mistakes like no, God, no, not, like some of the comments he made, it actually made him like feel like a personality like cause, one when I was like, talking about the dummies going don't talking about like I can't remember the exact quote but saying like saying monkeys like saying monkeys already a dummy and all that. It gave you like him like an actual personality, and I do think that this was definitely missing from like season 1. And I know that this is something which like we talked about when like comparing the two shows for season 1 and all that. So I do think that like had they done this a little bit more, I feel like this would have made the Turtles a lot more better. So yeah. Okay, so that's when we do get to Turtles. They are put in a training scenario and they are used as dummies, and the Turtles fight them with their feet and just keep them around and all that. What do you think about that a little bit there?
To be honest, I thought that was pretty cool. We got to see the underbelly of the Colosseum or the arena, and we get to see a lot more of the different characters or the gladiators themselves. And we get to see them fight against one another, and we get to see the turtles in full-on action with their fighting skills and how adaptive they are to different situations, which I thought was pretty cool. And I did quite enjoy how they've managed to turn the gladiators' strengths into their weaknesses, which is quite cool. And of course, I've got to say, I liked when Mikey just yawned and just brushed everything off, thinking it was absolutely nothing. That just made it for me for some reason. Just him yawning was just like, yeah, that's what made that scene right there.
You have to say, like, with the training bit, I thought it was. I mean, I do because I have to say, like, with like past fights from the season, I do feel like this one is like very creative and fun and just uses like advantages to its. Like, I don't know, I say like using like everything like in the scene to its advantage to make it like a very fun, unique scene, and also like what I was saying just a little bit earlier, where you know like Turtles would show off their confident, the like confident side. And I just think it works really well because we don't normally get to see a fight like this where the Turtles are just kicking and just all that, and it does definitely make it feel a lot more unique compared to other fights where they're just using the weapons and just punching people. So I do like the like added challenge to all of it, and it, it was just like very fun to see. And then that's when we do get to see the rule, he comes out and says, yes, you scum, go over there and kill the turtles. What do you think about that like the actual fight bit there?
Ah, now that was funny. That was pretty cool. I did like that. They were fighting each other, trying to get like the reward at the end of it, and it was kinda like sad as well that these prisoners are left to like fight for scraps and like to turn on one another at any moment's notice. But no, I thought that was pretty cool seeing the turtles fight again, and even this surprised me as well. I wasn't expect well. Of course it had to be kept PG, but I wasn't expecting Leo to lay down his sword after taking down one of the Triceratons, who was a gladiator in the arena. But of course it's Leo. He's the leader. He's always like for the greater good, and he's always thinking about second chances. But no, I wasn't expecting him to lay down a sword because I thought he would have anger towards the Triceraton. But clearly that's not the case. But I did like how he put out his hand for this Triceraton, this gladiator, who becomes a friend of the turtles and believes in the fact that there is honor to be won in battle instead of like brutally killing your opponent out of like sheer hatred. And I just thought that was pretty cool seeing that.
Yeah, let's say that with this fight scene, I thought this one was pretty good and enjoyable, and I do like how this one they was able to use the weapons, but it was a different variety of weapons, even though it was somewhat similar to their own. Like Leonardo's one was basically his sword, so it wasn't too much change there. It also had like a pitch, which yeah, that somehow really fits him quite nicely, and also Raphael had it as well. Like it shouldn't fit them too well, but it surprisingly does, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll definitely like to see Raph use the pitch a little bit more because, yeah, it's just amazing. And then Mikey, he had the, I don't know what would you call those weapons, like a ball and chain and stick and all that, like somewhat like nunchuckers, but quite different. And with that, I felt like it was like a really fun, like different variety of like weapons for him to use compared to him mainly just using his nunchuckers and with the occasional like alien technology thing that he might find in like later seasons or something like that. This was like quite a nice change of pace for him to use something like different and did look like visually appealing, and it was quite nice to see that where it's just very different but at the same time it felt the same, and it was just like a really fun, like nice fight. There wasn't really too much to it, and yeah, there wasn't really too much to the scene. It's just like it was cool to see all that. Leonardo giving up the fight so you can say Traximus. That was cool, but again, there wasn't really too much to it. It's just nice to know that they would like that. And then even Rav, I feel like we've got to talk about him a little bit. He was able to take a full blunt of electricity, like flown around him, able to take a whip out of Triceraton's hand, and then throw him like halfway across the room into some alien shit. How strong is he? Like I don't think anyone can resist like that, like especially with the electricity and all that. How like strong is he?
To be honest, I was a bit surprised myself that he had that strength in him. But if we think about this from like a physical approach, like they're in space at the end of the day, and of course, like everything's weightless in space, and of course they may have this gravity on their ship, but the lack of gravity might have helped Raphael throw him into the big pile of purple, whatever that stuff was. But yeah, no, I think about that. But it was pretty cool to see him take on like all that electricity coursing through his body and veins. Surprised he didn't fry himself, to be honest. But it was pretty cool seeing that.
You have to say, it's just like so, like I don't know, just because like every time I watch Raphael, he's normally like angry and can do stuff which most people can't do. But I just say that like with this bit here, it does feel like very out of the realms of like realism and all that. So it is like calling out from, but at the same time, it's just shocking he was able to do all of this kind of stuff. Just because like in like next season there is a scene similar to this with another character, and the character is like very struggling with electricity and all that. but yet here Raph is just like, yeah, okay, I'll whip my throat across the room and all that. It was, yeah, it's amazing. But then we do get see Turtles. They do have dinner with prisoners. Compass. I have to say this, a little bit disgusting that Traximus was eating his food and then scooped up the food and then put it onto Turtle's plate without cleaning the fork and no spoon. Do you have anything to say about that? Because I found that very disgusting.
To be honest, I didn't think that would be a problem, but I guess you take what you get in the prison. But yeah, no, I thought it was very very friendly, very charming. That the gladiators in the arena look out for one another, which is really good. Like they've got this brotherhood behind them, so they look after one another. They keep everyone healthy and fit and fighting, so they can go in the gladiator ring and they can come back alive. And they've got their strength too. And just seeing them just share all their food after the turtles were turned down from their rations, I just thought that is like a really strong brotherhood, a strong idea that all the gladiators have. They don't hurt one of their others unless they're forced to. They like pretend to fight one another. Deep down, they respect one another, but on the outside, they have to be mean, they have to be tough, they have to fight, they have to kill for their own survival. And it just shows that mentality within the arena and shows how brutal it can be and how it can break people.
Yeah, to say that with this bit here, it was. I know. I think I was looking into it a bit too much. But yeah, but I do think. I don't know. It's weird because I do feel like at the same time they wouldn't do that because they're in prison, and also not to mention they just beat them all up. It just seems weird that they would do that, but it was cool to know that like they would do something like that. But it just seems a little bit weird that they are doing that. But yeah, but we do get to see Traximus. He talks about the history of the Triceratons. I'll talk about that in just a second. But what do you think about Traximus as of right now?
I think Traximus is quite an interesting character because he's a Triceraton at the end of the day. And of course, the Triceraton right now are the enemies of the Turtles. I'm thinking, why is a Triceraton a gladiator in the arena? What did he do wrong to get them so annoyed, so enraged to throw him in the arena? And of course, we do find out about his backstory, about the old Triceraton Republic and how it was overthrown by an evil dictatorship. And he was punished for speaking out against this dictatorship and sentenced to life in the arena. And of course, it just shows that this character is very noble, he's very honorable, and he always looks on the side of truth and honor, which this could lead into several different things. Like he could be, well, it sounds like he's going to become a friend and quite a good ally to the Turtles within this universe. Like, I think we're going to be seeing him a lot more.
You do seem a little bit more. I think about 4 more times. I think, yeah, I think about 4 more times we do get to see him, and I have to say that like with Traximus, he is a pretty cool character, and I do like the things we understand, stuff like that. I am like quite surprised with just how like political his character is, and with everything like Triceratons. And like I mean, just like looking back on it now, I'm quite surprised by that, just because it's Turtles. You don't really expect it to be heavily political or something like that. I'm not trying to say that like it's like overly political, like what I'd say with like some shows like nowadays, but it has like a little bit in there which just goes, that's kind of cool that they're like just like trying to like tap into that like story element of things, and it's nice to know that like they're able to do something with it and able to tell a decent story without trying to just go, oh yeah, well like these people are wrong because they believe in this. They have like a really good point for like it's like I'd say like, it's like very clear what they want to like tell their political stuff, but not like annihilate or alienate anyone with their opinions or anything like that. And I do think that's what like this bit did really well when like compared to like shows like nowadays where they do skew towards some more people more than others and trying to alienate people. Whereas this one, it didn't really feel like that, and I do enjoy it quite a lot. And I do feel like Traximus is a really good character to really tell it with it, especially his story arc as you go along, where you do get to see what happens with all this. So I do enjoy that. Also, not to mention, I really like his voice, and this part is going to shock you the most. So yeah, buckle up for this bit. Traximus' voice is the actual real voice of the person who's voicing him, but also the person who's voicing Traximus goes on to voice Leatherhead in this universe, and he uses the exact same voice. And there is a scene later in the show where two characters are in the same scene, but the voice actor only does lines for one person. And it wasn't until a few years ago when the actor talked about this and said, "Oh yeah," and talk about it and just go, "Oh yeah, I'll just use my voice for like normal voice for both characters." No one realised it until then, so that is I can't tell that's really great acting, or we're all just thick as shit. So that is really decent.
No, that is pretty cool to know that though. Like I thought he was using a filter or something, but that voice sounded really good.
So he also did the Guardian from last season. The people who went around with glasses and swords to fight the Ultron Shredder. He did the
That
main.
was him.
He's he's quite a talented person, and he does those stage acting and stuff like that. But he doesn't really do too much acting now. He hasn't done anything for TV in ages. But yeah, I must admit, just listen to his voice. He just has one of those kind of voice that is just perfect. And I don't know, I was thinking about him. I feel like he'd also do a really good Hun kind of voice, and also maybe even a Shredder. I really could see that happening if he was to continue his career. I think he could do like so many voices. He just has. I don't know. He has the voice.
But definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So with the next bit, he does go on to talk about the history of the Republic and saying how it's changed with the new leadership and all that. Feels a bit Russian-y because of all the stuff. Do you have any comments about the history?
The history, is this about the Republic?
Yeah, and about it changing with the Zamron and all that.
Ah, okay. I think I might have accidentally jumped the gun with the story and the background, but with the Triceraton Republic, I think it's a cool idea that there once was a republic that was based on truth and honor and amnesty for all, but now this military dictator has just taken over and said, you know what, we're gonna attack everyone, we're gonna conquer the galaxy because we're better than everyone else. That's the vibe that I'm getting off right now. That is literally the military dictatorship taking over the galaxy, making the Triceraton race becoming the most dominant, powerful galactic power in the universe, sort of thing. And it's cool to see that there could be a rebellion or a revolt. It sounds like a very much rebellious revolt. And I know that it's a long way off, and I'm just speculating here, but the way he was speaking sounded like there was going to be a revolution. His voice made it sound like there was a republic, a great republic, and it sounds like it's going to rise again. I know I'm speaking speculations right now, but it was his voice that sold it to me that way.
Yeah, let's see for overall this little bit here. There wasn't really too much I can really talk about just because it was just more or less just a few little bits of dialogue and not too much to it. But I do like how again they are really just showing off the lore and history for this universe, which I just think is just so great, and it's just so amazing to see that unlike 2012 show when they do bring in Triceratons, it doesn't really feel like there's too much to it just because in 2012 one they don't have the because. It's really weird, but their version is cool, but not as good as these ones. Just because in the 2012 one, when they did a similar sort of thing to this episode, the arena and all that, they didn't have Traximus in this one, and they don't have any of the history with the people taking over the Triceratons. They're just straight up evil. So it's really nice to know that in this universe there's a lot more history and lore and just everything about it is just so much more better and more unique and more defined. And just like with like the oh god, so also just like with the like notes from the underground episodes, where it's how to build like the history and lore out with things. It's just so grand, amazing, and a shame for like stuff like this is more or less forgotten nowadays in like most TV shows, unless it's like Marvel, DC stuff. But I thought that this was like really great, and I would just would like to see a little bit more of this because I think there's a lot more to this kind of story which they are more or less forgetting. But I'll take whatever we can get. So then after that, we do get Sea Turtles. They go up into the arena. The the people there, they say no, we don't want to fight them. So that's when Zamron brings out the the All Star Ram Tam group. Yeah, what do you think about that little battle bit there?
To be honest, well, we all knew there was something big coming, but to be honest, the All-Star group, it didn't, like, this group of people sounded like, oh, these are the baddest guys around, like, they will destroy anyone. But of course, as in the Ninja Turtles tradition and style, the Turtles defeat the Big Bad Boss in such an awesome way that the boss just gets defeated. And it was a bit of a shame that thinking, oh, I thought it was going to be like this giant character, this boss. But of course, the Turtles took it in their stride. They kicked their asses up and down the arena using their weapons and their skills, earning an audience in the process and earning some reputation within the Triceraton Republic. It's pretty cool to say that people like them, and to say that people like them this early on, especially the enemy at the moment, the Triceratons, is quite a big deal for them.
You have to see, like, with this, I thought it was like a fun thing to more or less do like their own wrestling group kind of thing and just playing into that kind of thing. I thought it was just like, I don't know, say one of those kind of things. It's just like a very like fun, stupid idea that just works a little bit too well. But I feel like with this fight, it was okay. I do feel like because just like with this fight, they do have weapons. It does somewhat feel like this one. I don't know, something about it feels a little bit like less. I don't know. It doesn't really feel more unique compared to other fights where like the other fights were having like without the weapons, different like very cool, unique stuff. I mean, the only thing which like really stood out to me was how like Mikey like threw his nunchucks at Triceraton and then did the thing to take him down. I thought that was pretty cool, but overall, it's just like a very short and very somewhat boring kind of fight. And also, not to mention, how did no one realize that there was that had the weapons? Somewhat cheating. How did Traximus get the weapons? There's a whole lot of can of worms which we're not prepared to answer. So yeah. So then for the last little bit, we do get Saber Turtles. They're able to go up onto the Colosseum to threaten the like Lord Zamron's life. So what do you think about that little bit there?
Now that was exciting. Now that I was not expecting. To be honest, when they jumped up on the stage and started making demands and all that, and of course they've been surrounded by the entire Triceraton army, the bodyguards, the commandos, everyone, and then of course they decide to take the the Triceraton Prime leader as a hostage. Was not expecting that at all, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting them to hold their weapons against the Prime leader as a bargaining chip to try and get themselves off planet. And that I thought was pretty cool, because they decided, you know what, we're going to threaten to hurt the Prime leader to get us out of the planet. And that is very much a genius play to do, because they have a bargaining chip. They have someone powerful. They have someone that has control. And so they can now do whatever they want with Prime to get them out of there safely.
Yeah, to say that. So this bit here, I don't really have too much to really say, just because I think that like the majority of the things which I will like to say, I'll probably wait until the next episode, because like stuff that happens in that one, it's more better for me to talk about it just so that just like clean run of just talking about things. But overall, this little bit here, I thought it was okay. It was like a I would say like a pretty decent plan for them to think about it like this, and I'm surprised like no other characters try to do this before and all that kind of stuff. And with like Mikey Stein saying, "Oh, I hope they trust," like something along the lines of like, "Oh, I hope they like him." Like it would just be so amazing if they just just shot at the turtles and accidentally killed him, because it seems like majority of the Triceratons are split with all this stuff. So they could have saved so much time for the show if it did all this. But yeah, it's just it's weird but okay scene, but good at how to do this. Yeah. But yeah, what do you think about this episode overall?
Overall, I thought this was pretty cool. I thought this is a really good episode to show the different parts of the Triceraton Republic, and just to show more of the Triceratons and how they function as a society, and just to show how ruthless they can be, especially with prisoners and different types of people. They want to be dominant and they want to know who's in charge. They want to show that power, that force through violence and fear, and they wish to conglomerize it basically. And that's really cool to see that they are a very powerful nation, almost on par with the Federation, and it just shows that this is a civilization not to be trifled with, and it just shows that the Federation are fearful of the Triceratons because of this.
Yeah, to say that with this episode overall, I thought it was a pretty good one just for a lot of action. I mean, I'd say that overall, I feel like there wasn't really all too much that really happened in this episode, but it was like a pretty good one just like, seeing a lot of action. I just wish, like this whole episode, I wish I just cared a little bit more about this one, but I do feel like rewatching it, I have definitely changed my opinions about this episode, and once again, I've enjoyed this episode a lot more than what I was thinking I was going to, which is like a really good thing. But at the same time, I don't know about that, but yeah, it was good overall. I just wish that I cared a little bit more. Okay, so where do we begin for the next bit? Okay, so let's talk about okay. Do you want to hear some trivia for this episode?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so if it actually decides to load in, where is it? Okay, so this episode, just like with the last episode, it was inspired by. No, hang on, was it? No, this episode and next episode are inspired by issue number 6 of the original Turtle comics. So once again, I thought that shows us how crazy and wild the original comics were. But that's pretty much the only bit of trivia for this bit. Okay, so then for some like errors for this episode, so just before Zamaron calls the All-Star team to the arena, you can see Mozart Ram standing next to him. How is that an error? Okay, either way, we got okay, so we've got another error is when Raphael says, who Mr. Sunshine? Raph can be seen with both of his sides, even though the Turtles were supposed to have lost their weapons before that. Yeah, there was a lot of, like, I mean, I don't know if you noticed this throughout the episodes where, like, Turtles have, like, different, the belts on them, the weapons appeared throughout the episode when they shouldn't have. Did you notice that, or was it just something which, like, oh, I'm hearing about it now kind of thing?
I'm hearing it now, to be honest. I didn't really pick up on any errors as such. I was focused on the majority of the action. But now that you say it, I now realise that there was some errors, like some with weapons, some with not, and just a few things. But to be honest, they're nothing too big that you would actually point out and say, oh, that's wrong. There wasn't really much that I picked up on, and now you're saying it, I can now piece together what is and what isn't.
Yeah, no, I just even like with the like scenes which they like reuse, that is like very understandable. Try and cut time and all that. That's like understandable that they would have the weapons. But some scenes where they were like newly animated just for this episode, it does seem weird that they didn't like keep like the one came track of the continuity with the weapons and all that. Like because it was very obvious with like the parts which like they shouldn't have done. But it's just wild that I was even able to screw up some of this. But yeah, okay. So, what do you think is going to happen in the next episode?
In the next episode, I really don't know. I think this is just what I think. It could be completely wrong, but I think that the turtles are gonna get off the Triceraton Republic, and they're gonna use the Triceraton Prime as their bargaining chip to get off planet with Professor Honeycutt. And so I think they're gonna try and navigate throughout the city whilst having Triceraton Prime as hostage, and they're gonna try and escape on the Triceraton Republic through Triceraton Prime's control and leadership powers. But this is all just speculation. I could be completely wrong next week, so this is only what I think.
You're on the right tracks. Yeah, I'd say you're on the right tracks to getting pretty much close. Yeah. But I'll say like a somewhat better question. How long do you think the turtle's going to stay in space for? Because, you know.
To be honest, I really don't know. I know they've got their rebreathers from the Triceraton Republic for their atmosphere, but with regards to the space, like, I'm not too sure, because they're light years upon light years. Oh my god. Oh god, I thought I was going to sneeze, sorry. They are thousands of light years away from Earth, and I'm not too sure how long they're going to be in space for. Until Honeycutt builds that teleporter, or whether the Krang come in and they steal one of theirs, I really do not know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing just because I feel like I feel like with the space stuff they could do pretty much like the whole season and a lot more of, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait, see who actually create all that. But now it's time for your favourite part of this bit, and I know that you love it so much. Who do you think is going to be starting the episode?
Ooh, okay. The last few weeks I've got it wrong, but I think I'm going.
Tradition.
Yep. I think I'm gonna go with. Ooh, because I know it could be multiple different people now. So I'm gonna go with maybe Mikey. I want to say Mikey for some reason, but I know it's not.
Yeah, it's Donny.
Of course it was.
Why would you expect anything else?
No, Donny was my second guy. He was going to be my second, but I went with Mikey instead because I haven't heard Mikey in a while, and I thought it would have been Mikey, but clearly not. It's Donny.
Well, you tried, but yeah, do you think I'll say about this one, or is all done with this episode?
To be honest, I'm pretty much done with this episode. I really did enjoy it. It's very much action-packed, and we got to learn a lot more about the Triceratons and who they are, basically, as a civilization.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall this episode, it was good. I just wish I cared a lot more about it. So that's going to be it for today. I've been your host, Teddy.
And I've been Hayden.
And we'll see you soon. Goodbye, yo. Bye.
Bye.